down, take your glasses off, whatever you do to look pretty. You get another one of this.
That's my bad side.
Well,
I got two bad
we'll leave
sides.
that up to you. Okay. Okay, I'm not getting, okay, yes, perfect.
How's that?
That's great. Okay.
I'll send you all a copy.
I'm like, what are we doing with this?
I just messed this up.
Did you print out any copies of the agenda? I would like to have one, please.
Okay,
I would too, Denise.
okay.
I've got it on my phone, but
I have it in my iPad.
how's your new gig going?
Good, everything's
A lot of travel.
a lot of travel, a lot of travel. You want me to just go copy this?
Yeah.
Whatever you're on.
Ben, how are all your businesses going?
Busy.
Yeah, we drove by this morning, his fabrication shop there, and he was delivering a brand new,
How you doing, man?
Good man, how are you?
I'm John.
West Park, over here. I've heard your voice today.
Yes,
I've heard lots of good things about you.
Oh, yeah, hopefully that too. Because
Oh, no, 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 sir.
West Carter?
Yes, sir.
So which seat is yours? On this side, okay.
You want to sit down? Yeah.
You gonna sit like that? Okay.
I just jokingly call this the dark side.
You're the youngest person we have.
I am, well, and Jeff's a little bit.
Bo.
Yeah.
You too, sir.
I don't think Anthony's younger than you. Isn't Anthony running for your seat? I think he's older than you.
Yeah.
What's the story of he was like 16?
That is one thing about the commission, at least you do get termed down.
oh, you have terms?
The county commissioners have.
Oh, county
Yes.
commissioners.
Yeah. So I've been told 4 years to be done.
8 years really isn't enough because you're just getting work you've been working on for 8 years. Then
And a lot of western states don't have term limits for their county commissioners.
I think it's state law here.
It is constitutional. Texas doesn't have term limits for their county commissioners, Arizona doesn't.
there's a county commissioner that I used to see at National
NACO.
that was in Colorado like 28 years ago. But very powerful and is able to get stuff done. Yeah.
You know, it's hard for New Mexico to get in those leadership positions right now. NACO says you guys have trouble.
Anybody else? Nick?
Yeah, like this, New Mexico county, gives the state office that law, but I don't know that you're gonna try and do it.
I don't have a watch.
I love being a county commissioner. I just love everything about it. Helping people. Do you have your phone on? You can still get work done relatively.
That part of.
Was that so great?
That part.
Well, I love being a county.
I feel the same way.
I think we're burned out in areas.
Should be, but.
Okay.
Who is your new county manager?
Roberta is all this.
Oh.
She was our finance director.
Oh,
She was the finance director for Coral City or county?
County.
Socorro County.
She was highly sought after. We were lucky to have her. She helped us a lot.
The West Bank.
She's doing a great job as
Knows the
council.
numbers.
She's awesome.
Did you guys hire a finance director?
Mine.
Pardon?
Finally.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, should be official Tuesday.
Oh, good.
Today,
Your
today,
next meeting?
right now.
Today?
Today's Tuesday.
Today.
Local hire or bring somebody in?
Local hires.
No? Sure, what that's.
Smart.
They just steal our police officers.
Come back and show them.
They do.
They get bored out there, chasing cars on the highway.
It seems like the PD and the county officers just kind of.
Well, we've reached the appointed hour, so let me call the meeting to order. And the first thing I'd like to do is announce that we will not go into a closed session. I think that the issue is pretty straightforward, and in the interest of transparency, we'll just discuss it openly. And so I just want to make that change to the agenda. So, Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Yes, City of Carlsbad,
West Carter City, Carlsbad here.
John Heaton, City of Carlsbad here.
City of Hobbs,
City of Hobbs, Sam Cobb here.
Vince Smith, City Hobbs here.
Eddie County,
Eddie County, Bo Bowen here.
Eddie County, Susan Crockett here, and Lee County.
Lee County, Jonathan Senna here.
Lee County, Mike Gallagher here.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is the first time we've had a complete array of board members, and want to thank those that have traveled for coming over. Appreciate it very, very much. Nick, thank you for coming over as well. So we do have a quorum. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the amendments to the revenue sharing agreement. And I think that you have read the proposed amendment, and let me just briefly go over it. The first item is to create some clarity in the what's called the gross revenue sharing. Holtec wanted to make sure that that didn't include transportation and capital expenditures. So it is firmly stated in here that it is for storage only, revenue from storage. The other item here is the change of the percentage. We have been paying, or in the agreement, it is set at 30%, and Holtec would like to change that to 15%, and it's of course at the pleasure of the board what you want to do, but they want to change it and to 15%, and in lieu of that, instead of the Eddie Lee Alliance having the responsibility to fund any funding that would go to the state of New Mexico. In the original discussions, we had anticipated that we would probably give 50% of our gross revenue to the state of New Mexico in hopes that we would have a cordial arrangement between the state and Eddie Lee. That has, so in this agreement, we have eliminated Eddie Lee's responsibility to pay the amount of money that we pay to the state, and that's solely now the responsibility of Holtec. So that's essentially the change in the Section 2 of the revenue sharing agreement. So I would entertain any discussion or a motion to accept this and also include the 15% or whatever percentage you feel is appropriate.
Well, John, you know, like you, I've been associated with this project for 12 years that I've been mayor, so almost 12 years I've been mayor. So, you know, my recollection is that we anticipated probably a 10% going to the state. And given the fact that I agree that given the state's actions in trying to kill this project, that we certainly don't feel like that we have any obligation to do I think, in all fairness to the partners, 20% would be a reasonable number to go back to Holtec with. So with that and the other changes that have been illustrated here in the red line, I would make a motion that we approve this with a 20% revenue sharing between Holtec and ELEA.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I will second that based on my understanding of just what Sam summarized, that the cut from the state was 10. So I'll support 20%, which would be an amendment from what's in front of us in 15.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I would assume that the amendment has been put forth in a motion with the revenue sharing number to be 20%. So with that, Madam Chairman, or Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, West Carter, yes.
City of Hobbs,
City of Hobbs, Sam Cobb, yes?
Eddy County,
Eddie County, Bo Bowen, yes.
Lee County.
Lieutenant Jonathan Center, no.
Okay, we have, the motion passes 3-1. The next item on the agenda is the discussion of what we were going to talk about in closed session, but this discussion, or this is about the Eddie Lee participating in the lawsuit that Holtec anticipates having against the state of New Mexico, because the state law that was passed, Senate Bill 53, is preempted by the NRC and the federal Constitution. So that is the basis for the lawsuit, and they have asked us if we would participate in that lawsuit. And what you see in the presentation is that there is a participation in this agreement that would have a limit of $1.25 million, which is what the estimated cost would be. And it is projected that we would participate at a rate of 30%, which would amount to $375,000. And that would come only from revenue sharing. If we do not, if the project does not open, or for some reason they decide not to do it, then we have absolutely no obligation. Any payment that we would make would be the result of coming from our revenue sharing dollars. So that's the basic question. So I would entertain a motion to accept this at a 30% rate.
Move to approve.
Mr. Senna moves.
Jonathan Center, Lee County.
Johnson, Lee County. Is there a second?
Sam Cobb, City of Hobbs, I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
The only thing I'd like to bring up is consideration of the 30% seems to be wrapped around your initial 30% revenue share agreement that was in place. And in light of the change or the amendment that we just passed, is it worth considering that should be 20 instead of 30?
So,
That's just a discussion point, because it seems like if you're gonna, that knife needs to cut both ways, I guess, in my view. And, you know, if we're agreeing to pay 30%, I think personally that should probably not amount to what we just approved on the revenue.
okay, that's a, so we have that discussion point on the table, what the percentage should actually be. And I think that when Mr. Cobb, Mayor Cobb and myself have had discussions with Holtec. They had asked us to participate at a 30% rate, and we had more or less agreed that that was a
We
reasonable
agreed
number.
to take it to the board.
Yeah, we take it to the board, and so it is definitely in your lap. So that, would you like to make an amendment to the,
Well, I
To
would
the
like to
original
hear, I would
motion?
like to hear other discussion, because really, all I'm saying we change is at 1.14, we would go to 20 with a cap of, I guess that would be 250
yeah,
versus the 375. I just think, well, I've given you all my opinion, I'd like to hear from someone else as well, what their thoughts are. It just seems like that would be more in line with what we just did.
okay.
I would agree with that. If we're dropping from 30 to 20 on our revenue sharing, what we're taking in, it doesn't make sense that we would continue at 30% of what we would be contributing towards that 375, so 20%.
If we're 20% on revenue, 20% on expense.
That's correct. Otherwise, we're operating at a net negative 10. I don't think that's in the best interest of
Other comments? Okay, so I need that in the form of an amendment to
I'm
the,
happy to make, well, do we need to vote on the
Yeah, we need
first,
Yes.
I guess the first?
So, do we need to change it though to vote on it?
If he's willing to amend his
Yeah,
motion,
you're
you need to
Yeah.
amend the motion, and I can amend my second.
Okay, if it pleases the commission, I'm going to amend the motion to move to approve, including changing the percentage to 20% regarding
okay,
litigation.
is there a second to the,
Well, just to clarify, and then that cap would be 250.
yeah,
Yeah, 250 and 375, so that the numbers match up with the percentage.
okay, so 20% and 250. Is there a second to the amendment?
I would amend my second.
So we have a second, so approval of the amendment to the original motion. Would you please call the roll?
City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, West Carter, yes.
City of Hobbs,
City Hall, Sam Cobb, yes?
Eddie County,
Eddie County, Bo Bowen, yes.
Lee County.
County Jonathan Senate, yes.
Okay, so the amendment to the original motion has passed, and so now we are on the motion itself as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
City of Carlsbad,
Oh, we've already.
No, this is, we just voted on the amendment. Now we're voting on the motion as amended.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, West Carter, still yes.
City of Hobbs,
City Hall, Sam Cobb, yes?
Eddie County,
Eddie County, Bo Bowen, yes.
and Lee County.
County Jonathan Senate, yes. We're slow to the party, but we're working.
Thank you. The motion as amended has passed, so unanimously. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have completed our agenda.
Public comment.
And we, public comment, anybody like to make a comment? Mr. Maxwell. Thank you for taking the time to come up.
Hey, good morning. Nick Maxwell, Lee County citizen. Thanks for being here this morning. I didn't believe y'all would show up. Thought some of y'all would call in. But I'm glad to see you. So thanks for making me eat crow on that. I don't like what you just did. I don't want my tax dollars being used to prop up private interests. I think it's a shame what you just did. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there any, I guess there's no other public comment, so with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
City Hall, Sam Cobb, I move to
Second, Jonathan Senate, Lee County.
Have a motion and a second. Okay, would you call the roll, Madam Secretary?
City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, West Carter, yes.
City of Hobbs,
City Hall, Sam Cobb, yes?
Eddie County,
Eddie County, Bo Bowen, yes.
and Lee County.
Lee County Jonathan Senate, yes.
Okay, thank you all once again for coming up. We are adjourned. And
Thank you.
it's great to see everybody.
Like high school reunion.